Before time began, before stars lit the sky or the earth knew its shape, there was a creature radiant and exalted, Lucifer, the anointed cherub. Clothed in beauty, wisdom, and music, he walked among the stones of fire, created perfect in all his ways. But then, pride was found in him. "How you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning," cried the prophet. "You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens, I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will make myself like the Most High." Isaiah 14 verses 12 to 14, this was no mere ambition, it was rebellion. And with it, the greatest betrayal in all of creation began. Lucifer, now Satan, persuaded a third of the angelic host to rise with him, but no throne built on pride can stand before the holiness of God. Heaven did not tolerate the uprising. The result was exile, a shattering fall from the highest place to the deepest ruin. Once a bearer of light, Lucifer became the prince of darkness, no longer a servant of glory, but the father of lies, the enemy of heaven and earth. Yet this was only the beginning. A war had been declared, not one of flesh and blood, but of kingdoms and eternity. And it would not be long before angels would stand again in his path. Then war broke out in heaven. Not a metaphor, not a parable. A war real and unrelenting, where the clash was not of flesh and blood, but of glory against corruption, of light against the darkness that once stood in the presence of God. Michael, the archangel, heaven's general, heaven's guardian, arose. The only angel in Scripture to bear the title archangel, and the one appointed to defend the people of God, stood at the forefront. With him were the angels of the Lord, arrayed not in fear but in faith, not in armor made by hands, but in the authority of heaven. And against them? The dragon. That ancient serpent, the deceiver of nations, the one called the devil, Satan. No longer the bearer of light, but the father of lies. He had once stood in heaven's courts, but pride had made him a stranger to humility. Now he returned not as a worshipper, but as a challenger, and behind him followed a third of heaven's stars, angels who had traded truth for treason. Revelation 12 tells us plainly, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The enemy was hurled down. Satan was cast out of the dwelling of God, along with his legions. That moment changed everything, not only for heaven, but for the story of mankind. Then a loud voice echoed across the heavens, "Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters, who accuses them before our God day and night, has been thrown down." Victory had come, but it was not the final victory, the battlefield just shifted. Cast out of heaven, Satan turned his wrath to earth, to the children of God, to those who beard the image of the Most High. And though the enemy had fallen, the war was far from over. There are moments in Scripture so mysterious, so brief, they almost slip by unnoticed, and yet they open a window into the unseen war between angels and darkness. One of these is found in the book of Jude. Just one verse, just a glimpse. But Michael the archangel, when he disputed with the devil and argued about the body of Moses, did not dare bring a slanderous accusation against him, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." Jude 1 verse 9, why would Satan contend for a corpse? Why fight for the body of a man already buried by the hand of God? Deuteronomy tells us that Moses died in the land of Moab and was buried in a place no one knows. His death marked the end of an era, the servant of the Lord who led Israel out of Egypt and spoke with God face to face. No prophet like him had ever risen in Israel, until Christ. But here we see something startling. Satan desired the body of Moses. Perhaps to desecrate it, perhaps to create an object of worship. If Israel had found Moses' grave, would they have turned it into an idol? But God intervened. Michael was sent, not just to stand guard, but to confront the adversary himself. And when Michael met the devil, he did not curse, insult, or argue in his own authority. He invoked the higher name. "The Lord rebuke you." That was enough. Even Michael, the archangel, dared not bring accusation against the devil apart from God's authority. This teaches us something profound. Not even angels fight in their own strength, victory belongs to the Lord. It also reveals that the war with Satan is not confined to nations or heavens, it touches individual lives, even in death. Even over a prophet's resting place, heaven still fights to preserve holiness. And in that quiet battle in the wilderness, a greater truth was declared. The enemy may demand what he has no right to possess, but God always defends what he has claimed as his own. Long after his fall, Satan did not vanish from the heavenly realm. Though cast from his place, he still found access to the courts of God, not as a servant, but as an accuser. We see it clearly in Scripture. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. And the Lord said to Satan, "From where do you come?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking back and forth on it." Job 1, verses 6 through 7, "Here is the enemy, not in chains, not yet condemned, but roaming, watching, accusing. His weapon is not only temptation, it is accusation. He stands before the throne to point the finger, to question your faith, your motives, your worth. Have you considered my servant Job?" God says. And immediately, the challenge comes, does Job fear God for nothing? This is the courtroom of heaven, Satan, the prosecutor. But what he did not count on was the advocate, the one who defends the righteous, not because they are perfect, but because they are covered. We see it again in Zechariah 3. "Then he showed me Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to accuse him. But as Satan accused, the angel of the Lord, a divine figure scholars often link to Christ himself, rebuked him, 'The Lord rebuke you, Satan. The Lord, who has chosen Jerusalem, rebuke you.' Joshua stood clothed in filthy garments, unworthy. But the Lord did not leave him that way. He said, 'Remove the filthy garments from him. See, I have taken your iniquity away.'" This is the pattern. Satan accuses, God restores. The accuser is loud, but grace speaks louder. Satan still accuses the brethren day and night, Revelation 12 tells us. But the blood of Christ silences every charge. Our defender is greater than our enemy. And though Satan once stood in the courts of heaven, the day is coming, and may already be near, when he will be cast down forever, his voice silenced, his accusations answered by the Lamb. After 40 days in the wilderness, he stood, weary in body, but unshaken in spirit. The desert winds had howled, the tempter had come. And 3 times, Satan had offered him a way out. A crown without a cross, glory without suffering, power without obedience. But Jesus answered not with fear, not with compromise, but with Scripture. "It is written," he declared, again and again, cutting through every deception with the sword of truth. And when the final temptation failed, when Satan departed, defeated for now, then came the moment the heavens had waited for, then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. Matthew 4 verse 11, "Not during the trial, not during the hunger or the heat, but after." When the battle was over, angels came. They did not remove the test, they restored the victor. This is more than comfort, this is a pattern. Even for the Son of God, the full measure of temptation had to be endured. No angel stepped in to block Satan's path, no divine voice silenced the adversary mid-sentence. The war had to be fought, and won, as a man. But when it was finished, heaven moved. Angels ministered, not to prevent the battle, but to tend the wounded after it. Not to interrupt the temptation, but to honor the obedience. It tells us this: God sees the struggle. He does not abandon the faithful, he does not forget the battlefield. And if angels came to the Son in his trial, how much more will they come for those who belong to him? Hebrews says they are ministering spirits sent out to serve those who will inherit salvation. We may not see them, we may not hear them, but heaven does not leave its soldiers behind. After the wilderness, there is always a table prepared. After the silence, the angels come. It is written, the enemy's time is short. Though he rages now, accusing, deceiving, and devouring, the day is appointed when his dominion will end, not by human hands, but by divine command. Revelation 20 reveals the moment. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key to the abyss and holding in his hand a great chain. He seized the dragon, that ancient serpent, who is the devil, or Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. Revelation 20 verses 1-2, this is not a battle. There is no struggle, no war of attrition. One angel, one chain, one verdict from the throne. The enemy who once walked among stones of fire, who contended with Michael, who tempted the Son of God, is bound by the authority of heaven. He is thrown into the abyss. Locked, sealed, silenced. The accuser becomes the prisoner, the deceiver becomes the captive. And for 1,000 years, he will not deceive the nations again. This is the justice of God. Swift, unquestioned, final. But it is not the end, not yet. After the 1,000 years, he will be released for a short time. One final act of rebellion, one last deception. And then comes the final judgment. And the devil, who deceived them, was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur where the beast and the false prophet are. They will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Revelation 20 verse 10, this is the last confrontation, the final page. The war that began in heaven ends with a throne on earth. Evil is no longer permitted, it is punished. And Satan, who once stood in God's presence, will never rise again. The angels of God, once his peers, now stand as witnesses to his defeat. And we, the redeemed, will stand too. From the first rebellion to the final fall, we have seen the conflict, angels arrayed in righteousness, Satan twisted in pride. We have watched as light confronted darkness, not once, but over and over again, in heaven's courts, in the wilderness, and in the end of days. But this is more than ancient history or prophetic imagery, this is our story. We are not spectators in this war, we are its battlefield. For the battle between angels and Satan is not only fought above, it is fought within. Every temptation, every accusation, every whisper of doubt. The enemy still roams, seeking whom he may devour. But we are not left defenseless. Scripture tells us, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in heavenly places. Ephesians 6 verse 12, but we are not alone. The God who sent Michael to battle, the God who sent angels to minister to Christ, the God who cast Satan down, is the same God who watches over his people today. He has given us armor, truth, righteousness, faith, salvation, his word. He has given us his Spirit, our comforter, our advocate. And he has given us his promise. The God of peace will soon crush Satan under your feet. Romans 16 verse 20, yes, Satan has fought angels. And he has lost, he will lose again. But now, the question is not whether the angels will overcome, they already have. The question is whether we will stand, whether we will endure, whether we will believe. Because the final victory belongs to Christ, and all who stand with him. So do not fear, do not falter. Because the war has already been won, and heaven is still fighting, for you.